Before the Elder Scrolls were written, before dragons were hunted, and long before the Dovahkiin walked among mortals, there was only war. Tamriel was not always united. It was once a fractured land, torn apart by ambition, greed, and the blood of kings. It knew no peace, only chaos. But from the ashes of countless battles, a conqueror emerged, not just a man, but a force of destiny. This is the story of how one warrior forged an empire, shaped an era, and carved his name into eternity. This is the beginning of the Septim Dynasty. Forged in blood and flame, the rise of the Septim Empire. Before the rule of Tiber Septim, Tamriel was chaos incarnate. The poet Tresisis called that era the days and nights of blood and venom. Petty kings clung to their fragile thrones, warring endlessly, blind to anything but their own ambitions. But Tiber Septim emerged, not just as a warlord, but as a force of destiny. They resisted him, they tried, but they were disunited, corrupt, and weak. One by one, their crowns were cast down before his advancing legions. In the year 2E 896, Tamriel was unified. The following year, Tiber declared a new age, the beginning of the Third Era. For 38 years, Tiber Septim ruled. It was an era of justice, faith, and imperial order. Every citizen, from the lowliest serf to the most powerful noble, knew their place and knew peace. And when he died, it reigned for a fortnight, as if Tamriel itself mourned its emperor. His grandson, Pelagius Thashta, inherited the throne. Though his reign was short, he was as firm and resolute as his grandfather. Had fate been kinder, the Golden Age might have continued, but the shadows moved quickly. A hidden enemy of the Septim line hired the Dark Brotherhood, who struck Pelagius down in prayer in the Temple of the One. With no surviving children, the throne passed to his cousin, the daughter of Tiber's brother, Agnerith, Kintyra Thursha's former queen of Silvanar. Her rule brought peace, prosperity, and culture. She was a patron of music and dance, and her reign was blessed by plentiful harvests and the love of the people. Her son became the first emperor to bear the name Uriel Thur. A great lawmaker and organizer, he supported the rise of independent guilds across the empire. Under his guidance, the Fighters' Guild and Mages' Guild flourished. His son, Uriel II, lacked the strength of his father. His reign, from 3E64 to 3E82, was cursed by plagues, uprisings, and poor governance. His kindness became his downfall, and justice was rarely served in his time. Pelagius II inherited not just the empire, but its debts. He dismissed the Elder Council and allowed only those who could pay handsomely to return to their seats. He encouraged the kings of Tamriel to do the same. And though the empire prospered once again, his critics claimed that gold, not wisdom, ruled his court. His son, Antiochus, was flamboyant, indulgent, and deeply human. He had mistresses aplenty and a fondness for luxury, but his reign was troubled. The War of the Isle in 3E110 nearly tore Somerset Isle from the empire. Only a freak storm saved it. A tempest, some say, was summoned by the mysterious Sigic order of Artium. His daughter, Kintyra II, faced a far darker fate. Her cousin, Uriel, son of the infamous Queen Potema of Solitude, accused her of illegitimacy. When words failed, he turned to war. With Potema's help and the support of rebellious kings from High Rock, Skyrim, and Morrowind, Uriel struck swiftly. In the Iliac Bay, Kintyra's entourage was slaughtered and she was captured. For 2 years, she languished in a hidden prison, believed to be in Glen Point or Glen Moril, before she was murdered in her cell under unknown circumstances. Next, came the assault on the Morrowind coast. Kintyra's consort, Contine Arinx, fell defending the Imperial garrisons. Finally, Uriel laid siege to the Imperial city itself. With the legions scattered and the council in disarray, the city fell within 2 weeks. That very night, Uriel III declared himself Emperor of Tamriel, and thus began the War of the Red Diamond. The War of the Red Diamond, bloodlines and betrayal. The silence in the private laboratory of Frontier Space was almost palpable when we first captured the signals. I was checking the radio telescope data, as I did every dawn when the frequencies began to change. It wasn't common cosmic noise. There was a mathematical pattern far too precise to be a coincidence. My heart raced as I watched those waves fill the monitors. "James, you need to see this." Rebecca, our astrophysics specialist, called in a whisper, as if afraid something might hear us. Her normally calm expression had been replaced by a look of astonishment. "The algorithm is detecting linguistic structure in these signals." My hands trembled as I activated the recording protocols. Our small, independent team of researchers had built this laboratory far from government eyes precisely for moments like this, discoveries that official agencies might want to suppress. "Where is the signal coming from?" I asked, my throat dry. "HD 219134 system," Thomas responded, not taking his eyes off the coordinate screen. It specifically directed towards Earth. The message arrived in organized pulses, too complex to be immediately translated. That dawn would mark the beginning of a journey that would forever transform our perceptions about our own existence. None of us imagined how deep and disturbing the truth encoded in those signals would be. What we discovered in the following weeks would put us directly against the most powerful organizations on the planet, those who preferred that certain truths never be revealed. And now, as I tell this story, I still wonder if we made the right choice in deciding to share with the world what we learned about our true position in the universe and about what is coming in our direction. Madness, magic, and the fracturing empire, the fall of imperial unity. The death of Emperor Magnus brought his son Pelagius III to the Ruby Throne, but peace would not follow. Pelagius III, later known as Pelagius the Mad, showed signs of instability from the very beginning. He offended diplomats, alarmed nobles, and once ended an imperial ball by attempting to hang himself. His erratic behavior became legend and burden. Eventually, his long-suffering wife was granted the regency of Tamriel, while Pelagius was sent away to sanatoriums and healing temples. He died young at 34, after 8 years of mental decline and isolation. His wife, Kataria, assumed the throne as Empress Kataria Ves. Though not of Septim blood, and a Dunmer, no less, she proved a wise and effective ruler. Some claimed her reign marked the true end of the Septim line. Others pointed to her son, born of Pelagius, as proof the lineage endured. Racist whispers followed her, but Kataria silenced them not with words, but results. Her reign lasted 46 years, among the longest and most celebrated in imperial history. Disliking the pomp of the imperial city, she traveled extensively, mending alliances and restoring lost honor to the empire. No ruler since Tiber himself had so personally touched every corner of Tamriel. She died in Black Marsh in what was officially called a minor skirmish. But whispers persist. A forgotten branch of the Septim family, discontented and hidden, may have orchestrated her death. Her son Cassinda took the throne already ailing and middle-aged. Though only half-elven, he aged like a Breton and had long abandoned rule of Wayrest to his half-brother Uriel due to poor health. Still, as the only living blood of Pelagius, the people demanded he accept the crown. His reign lasted just 2 years. Then came Uriel IV, Cataria's son from her second union with the noble Galaver Lariat. Though Cassinda had legally adopted him, and though the Lariats were distant Septim cousins, the Elder Council resisted. To them, Uriel IV was a pretender. This suspicion shaped his entire rule. He governed for 43 years, locked in constant power struggles with the Elder Council. The balance of power had already begun to shift during Cataria's long travels and Cassinda's weak reign, but Uriel IV's assertiveness clashed hard with the Council's thirst for control. He used spies, guard units, and political pressure to push back. But when he died, the Council struck their final blow. His son, Andorak, was disinherited. Instead, they crowned a more pure-blooded cousin, Sepphoris II, in 3E247. This betrayal ignited another war. For 9 years, Andorak's loyalists fought the Empire. The conflict ended not in triumph, but compromise. The Elder Council granted Andorak the kingdom of Shornhelm in High Rock, where his descendants rule to this day. But Sepphoris II had little time to enjoy his victory. From the shadows of Valenwood, a horror emerged, one of the darkest figures in Tamriel's history, the Cameron usurper. With an army of Daedra and undead, he carved a bloody path across the southern provinces. His power grew rapidly, kingdom after kingdom falling before him. Mercenaries sent by Sepphoris were bribed, slaughtered, or worse, raised into his unholy army. Though his defeat was celebrated, the Empire's part in it was minimal. The provinces had saved themselves, and with it came a deep resentment toward the weakened Empire. Then came Uriel V's son of Sepphoris II. Uriel V was no idle bureaucrat. He rekindled the old flames of conquest. He turned the Empire's gaze outward and launched a series of invasions. Roscrea, Cathnake, Ineslea, and Esroniet fell before his banners. In 3E288, he embarked on his most ambitious campaign yet, the invasion of Akavir. 2 years later, he was dead, slain in the frozen east on the battlefield of Ionith. And yet, his legacy endures. Uriel V is remembered as the greatest warrior emperor since Tiber himself. Shadows of the throne, deception, legacy, and the last true emperors. When Uriel V fell on the distant fields of Akavir, the empire lost not only its emperor, but its momentum. His son, Uriel VI, was just 5 years old. Born only shortly before Uriel V's departure, the boy inherited the Ruby Throne in 3E290. His mother, Thonica, was granted a limited regency, but true power, as always, lay in the hands of the Elder Council. And they liked it that way. For 17 years, they ruled virtually unchecked, clinging to the wealth and influence they'd gained since Cataria's time. Uriel VI was raised carefully, but not quickly. Only in 3E307, at the age of 22, was he granted full authority. He wasted no time. Though his official power was limited, Uriel VI made excellent use of what he had. He reactivated defunct spy networks, tightened control of the Imperial Guard, and slowly bent the council to his will. With the support of his half-sister Morihatha, who had married into great wealth and influence, Uriel reclaimed true imperial authority. As one scholar put it, Tiber Septim conquered Tamriel, but Uriel VI conquered the Elder Council. In 3E313, just as his rule reached its peak, Uriel VI died in a tragic fall from his horse. Despite the Empire's finest healers, he could not be saved. His sister, Morihatha, took the crown at 25. She was widely praised, intelligent, charming, and politically sharp. Some said she was the most beautiful woman in all Tamriel, others the most dangerous. She brought the Archmagister of Skyrim to the Imperial City, reinstated the office of Imperial Battle Mage, and continued her brother's reforms. The Imperial province thrived under her rule, but beyond the heartlands the empire was fracturing. Revolutions, civil wars, and rebellious provinces pushed back. Morihatha led careful, calculated campaigns, always choosing diplomacy where possible and never overextending her reach. Slowly, she brought rebellious lands back into the fold, but her pace frustrated some. One counselor, an Argonian named Thorocles Romus, grew enraged when she refused to send troops to aid his troubled homeland, Black Marsh. Many believe he hired the assassins who ended her life in 3E 339. He was tried, convicted, and executed, but protested his innocence to the end. Morihatha had no children. Her sister, Eloisa, had died years earlier, and so the crown passed to Eloisa's son, Pelagius IV. Pelagius IV continued Morihatha's efforts. He was calm, measured, and diplomatic. He slowly worked to rebuild unity, though the rebellious spirit of the provinces made progress slow. His reign lasted 29 years, bringing much-needed stability, though not quite success. And then came his son, the man who would become one of the most important emperors in Tamrielic history, Uriel Septim Septim. Wise like Morihatha, cunning like Uriel VI, and bold like Uriel V, Uriel VII seemed born to restore the empire. For 21 years he ruled justly, and the heartlands knew peace. But in 3E 389, betrayal struck from within. His own imperial battle mage, the powerful and treacherous Jagar Tharn, imprisoned Uriel in another dimension. Using powerful illusion magic, Tharn took his place and ruled in disguise for 10 years. The empire suffered. Tharn did not continue Uriel's campaigns of reunification. Instead, he ruled with corruption and self-interest. The provinces weakened, alliances faltered, and the people despaired. Then, in 3E 399, an unnamed champion entered the Imperial Palace dungeons. There, in secret, the battle mage was defeated. Uriel VII was freed from his dimensional prison. Since that day, the Emperor has worked tirelessly to restore the Empire's lost momentum. The damage was deep, but the will of Tiber Septim's line remained strong. And perhaps, just perhaps, Tamriel may yet see the golden light of unity once more. Thus, the tale of the Septim Empire finds its close not with a final triumph, nor with utter ruin, but with a kingdom ever on the brink between order and chaos. From the ashes of the interregnum, one man rose to bind Tamriel in flame and steel. Tiber Septim, Dragonborn and Conqueror, brought peace by the sword and carved a dynasty from the shattered bones of the old world. His bloodline, noble yet flawed, would carry the weight of that throne through centuries of glory, madness, betrayal, and war. We witnessed emperors crowned and murdered, councils corrupted, and kin turned against kin. We watched as the Wolf Queen sowed war, as emperors sought gods and power beyond their reach, as heroes and villains wore the same crown. Even the greatest among them fell to madness, to ambition, or to the lies of those closest to them. Yet, still, Tamriel endures. For history does not vanish, it whispers. In stone, in scroll, in song, and in tales such as these. If your spirit stirs at the echo of old empires, if the fire of lore still burns in your chest, then walk with us. Subscribe to Tales of Tamriel and let the next legend begin.